Welcome back to the Sure Group Show, episode 15. Today I'm very excited because a little publication came out that I read because I'm a real estate nerd called the Realtors Confidence Index. So what this does is it samples a bunch of realtors and gets a bunch of data that can be useful for people in the industry to kind of utilize, pull apart, look at trends, see how it might affect pricing and marketing strategies and all that stuff. But a couple of the bullet points that I thought were relevant to share with you guys is the average time on market. So right now, the average time on market for the National Association of Realtors is 45 days. That's pretty low. Homes are selling. You put your house on the market, on average, it's going to sell in 45 days. Well, here at the Sure Sales Group, we looked at our last 180 listings that sold. They sold in 38 days. Which means we beat it by a week. Who you work with matters. Furthermore, we sell more of our own listings before they hit the market with coming soon strategies, more than anyone else in Baltimore. So Brandon, throw up the podcast we did with Pat Hyben where we were interviewed because of this statistic on a national real estate podcast. I think Barbara Corcoran was the guest after us, so it was a kind of a big deal. So that number could be skewed a little bit lower, but per the MLS, 38 days, our last 180 listings. One of the reasons I really like looking at these indexes are to find out what the buyer characteristics are. Who's buying the homes? When are they buying them? How much are they putting down? That way I can identify trends, again, which will help with different strategies, whether I'm working with a buyer or a seller. So here's some of the ones that stuck out to me. First-time home buyers are making up 32% of the transactions. It's a pretty good stat. 17% are investors. So that's half the transactions are done with first-time home buyers and investors. We work with a lot of first-time home buyers and investors. So if you're putting your home on the market, depending on the segment, half of your market you can identify as a first-time home buyer or an investor. Those two groups act very differently, and there's different ways to target each one effectively. But it's just good to know where they're coming from. Another interesting stat, first-time home buyers, 80% of them put down less than 20%. Not all these first-time home buyers have 20% to put down. And if you watch episode 14, it's key, whether you're listing a home or working with a buyer, to have different financing options. Again, 80% of these first-time home buyers are putting down less than 20%. So it's important for an educated real estate professional to help them find other programs, if that makes sense. The main issues affecting transactions, here's the headaches, according to the National Association of Realtors, is financing. Well, we work with some of the best mortgage partners. I'm really proud of our mortgage partners. They have the best products, rates, whether it's 100% financing for doctors, 1% financing for first-time home buyers, amazing rates for 20% down folks. We got this one pretty figured out. So when we're listing a home, it's important to know, hey, can you come up with creative solutions to help market this $600,000 house? Because financing could be an issue for a lot of people. When we're listing a home, when we list your home, for $200,000, is there creative ways to show the marketplace, hey, you can buy this house for $3,000 and your grandma can give you the loan? That's the type of creative things you need to do to get homes sold in this market, and that's why we do it a little bit quicker, because we're always analyzing things. Next month, I'm gonna look at this again, and it's fun to watch it slowly change, but you gotta get ahead of the game on this, because you're either ahead or you're behind, and being behind sucks. Because in this game, when you're listing properties, we play a little game called sell it before they hate you. Because if you don't do what you say you're going to do and get the home sold, it's a problem. So that's what we're trying to avoid at all costs. So other issues, home inspections. Some of these houses are jacked up. Your house might be jacked up and you might not even know it. A home inspector comes in, spends 3 hours testing every outlet, every light switch, every appliance. That can kill a deal. Well, one of the things the Sure Sales Group leverages is our property management company. We have excellent contractors where we can solve those problems on behalf of a seller or on behalf of a buyer to keep the deal together. Because I wish there was a stat for this, but I want to say 99.9% of our contracts go to closing because we don't lose deals over dumb shit like this. Financing, home inspections, that's to be expected. Game plan for it. And then finally, appraisals. So when someone's buying your house and they're getting a mortgage loan, which almost everybody does unless they're buying in cash, also in here, not on the board, 17% were cash. Investors typically buying cash. But if you're getting a loan, you have to get an appraisal. The buyer's mortgage company orders a third-party appraisal, and if it doesn't match or beat the sales price, that's an appraisal issue, and that could sink your deal. So what we do at the Sure Sales Group to get ahead of the game is we'll meet the appraiser at the house. We will provide them the comps. We will help them do their jobs to make sure we're protecting our sellers as best we can and we can get to closing. So those were some of the main points I found out in this 30-page report, and we'll link this up. If you go back to this video on our blog, this whole PDF will be there. If you're a dork like me and you want to read the whole thing, knock yourself out. But two things I also found very interesting, and Brandon, we'll throw this up. The living status of home buyers at time of purchase in February 2017. Get this. Look at these trends. In 2014, 55% of people were living in their own home. Now, only 48% live in their own home. That's a trend that we need to be aware of as real estate professionals. The trend is dipping. More people are not owning homes. Renting is this red line. Rents an apartment or a house in 2014 was 36%, up to 42%. More people are renting. Good to know. And then finally, lives at home with parents. 2014 was 9%. That's also climbing to 11%. So somehow, confidence is a little bit lower, I'd say, among the buyers out there, which is mind-boggling to me. And it's probably due to some student loan issues we have in this country, some trepidation from what happened in 2008. So that's something you need to pull apart there and just know that it's going on. So as an investor, hey, that's good. More people are renting, rents are going to go up. Less people are buying, let's come up with creative financing solutions and pull apart the whole picture so these buyers can see it. And then the other chart I really liked, and Brandon, you can throw this one up, is the population projection for 25 to 34-year-olds. 25 to 34 is typically the bread and butter for this first-time home buyer market. 25 to 34. In the year 2000, this is in millions, about 40 million 25 to 34-year-olds. And as you look at this projection, it kind of takes this little curve and it's trending upward. And by 2060, it'll be 51 million in that age group. So those are millennials. And as soon as the millennials start to realize that unless you're moving or you have a career where you're not stable, and there's a lot of reasons to rent, and renting's good, but if you're going to stick around, which most people are, if you look at the big data, people don't move all that much. Buying a home is an amazing investment over the history of real estate. It makes sense to get in because it's safe, it's tangible, you can't get stolen from you, you can live in it, rent it, depreciate it. Typically it appreciates in value. There's a lot of benefits to owning real estate outside of just feeling good. Like the intangibles of, hey, I own this house, I'm part of this community. You can't put a number on those things. The landlord can't tell you what you can and cannot do. But there's a lot to be said for those two charts, and I'm going to sit on it and think of more creative ways to magnify it in ways that help our clients. Because the only reason I look at this and train our team members on this is to find ways to help you as a buyer and to find ways to help you as a seller maximize your position when buying or selling real estate. So that's episode 15. Read the whole thing and let me know what you think, if there's anything in here that you think makes sense to be the megaphone to the marketplace about. And we'll see you next time. Oh, by the way, if you're going to hire a real estate professional, a good question to ask them is, who do you use for financing and how do you come up with creative solutions? What happens when home inspection items come up? Can you help me solve those? What happens if the house underappraises? What solutions can we do before it's too late? That's important to know. And bonus tip, I just found this out. These Office Depot markers are so much better than Expo. Office Depot Dry Erase is greater than Expo. Remember that. See you next time.